This method, though, if you do it right, works pretty good. Just have these little tippy taps with white legs and look amazing. All it takes is one little piece. If I can get that to sit against glass, smart idea, right? And there's one, and there's one, and there's one, and there's one, and there's one. Push it, there we go, and just like that. All right, everybody, we're back in the fish room. It's been days, and I'm working on it. The tank's over there, looking a lot better. I'm working on this cardinal shrimp tank. Just put in some substrate. I'll show you a little bit about that in a minute. Basically what I do is I mix, or I just sprinkle it on top, kind of like over here, and then I gravel vac, and so it mixes it in. The crushed corals a lot of time will settle down to the bottom anyway, so if I do nothing, it'll settle, but this makes it look a little better right away. Sometimes you guys ask, you know, how does it not look so bad? And I think this is a very kind of natural look, especially as you get more towards like this, where it's just mixed in. I've got all this algae, and that's actually blue-green algae right there, on top of this lid. And it's gonna block a bunch of light. I'm gonna have to use this 30-inch light because I don't know if 36 is. So basically what you do is you grab a like dollar paint scraper. I think you get like 3 of them for $5 or $1.99 for one, or you know, dollar store if you can go there. When you got a scrubby pad and you're scrubbing the bottom of it in there, it's gonna knock the algae back down to the aquarium. And I always kind of hated that because it looked bad, and I know I'm just like, well, it's just gonna, you know, seed somewhere else. This method, though, if you do it right, works pretty good. So if I just kind of come over here, kind of see them flat against the glass, it's taking a little bit of the crust, which that's just, you can see that's just adding down in there, that'll dissolve. But we want to capture most of this algae. And you can see this is a paint scraper slash, you know, mudding type thing. And if I just take that away, and as long as I keep it up out of the water, because I've done my water change, oh, I wouldn't have done that if I didn't have a camera, but then I just take it over. I'm gonna show you the grossest sink ever because I've been working all day and I haven't rinsed it out in a while. This grossest sink ever, and you just, and we're good to go. And then I move on to the next tank. So I realize that's kind of shaky cam and probably makes people nauseous, but that is a whole lot better. Now I'll do it a couple more times, but it worked well for my acrylic tanks, and it was just a trick that I learned even kind of 20 years into the hobby. You know, it's not as good as taking this off and actually doing it. Like that scrape, you know, but it gets a lot of it in a quick pass. So if you had someone come over to check out your tanks, or you just want to, you know, you're breeding, something like that, that takes care of quite a bit. So cardinal shrimp tank, hopefully we'll find a B-roll picture or something. Just have these little tippy taps that with white legs and look amazing. I failed at them 3 times in my life, and so I'm giving this one a more serious attempt. Raising the temperature, that's what I've got a heater in there for. 82 degrees at the moment. I could go a little warmer. I'm not sure how hot I want to go because I just want it to be 82 so far. I'm gonna put some rock and do some stuff today with it. I don't even get to put shrimp in yet, which I think there's still one lone shrimp in here, but duckweed didn't fully get rid of, even though we tried. This will just come back with a vengeance, and it'll be like these over here, except I'll have all my shrimp in there and I won't be able to use a goldfish. And I can manually remove it, but I know what happens. I miss 2 pieces. You know, all it takes is one little piece. And really what I need to do is I need to scrape the insides also. So I'll do that today. All right, so we got the light set up. Got a couple plants chilling. You can see how much brighter this thing is. And so that part that was super white, gravel vac real quick, mix it in. Still a little bit heavy here. I got lazy, but we're gonna cover that in rock now. I'm just going with something that you can find at most aquarium stores, and it's not that hard to find online. They're getting expensive, which, you know, kind of everything is lately in 2022. It's completely random, you get what you get. Okay, there's that whole, you can see the different kind of coloration from red to kind of orangey black. This one I thought was really cool. At least I thought, depending on how I set it up, you know. This is where kind of the original plant holders came from. Like if I can get this without cracking or breaking an aquarium setup, if I can get that to sit against glass, smart idea, right? But if you were to take like an anubias, like this one, and you just stick that thing right there, look at that. Look how much different that's gonna become as the top of this gets covered. Now, my favorite things to do are to make pieces that stay with you in your aquarium hobby for years. That's one of my absolute favorite things to do. So maybe you come over here, you check your hands for duckweed and make sure you're not spreading it because you're trying to get rid of it. And there's a much colder tank here with these trout goodyids. You shake their fish poop off. Now this will really, so that one kind of fell in. You might put a little bit of, rock wool or something to jam that in there a little bit. But sometimes it's just trying, different pieces. Like maybe this piece right here is gonna look real good. And this is one of the, in my opinion, one of the easiest ways to do a lazy scape. So a smaller hole here, you put that bad boy in, and now you've made yourself an aquarium decoration that also doubles as like a cave. Now it's not sitting, you could have it sit like this, but on this other side, you could have an apisto breeding or something like that, and the same with this cave. And so I like to stack, I used to do it with tufa rock, I do it with lava rock, these porous type rocks that grow a lot of bacteria and algae and are great for shrimp. If you make like a rock background, that's what I usually do, is I kind of put a rock background in and go, looks halfway decent, and then I plug the holes with potted plants. And these are epiphyte plants, so Java fern and anubias and bulbitis. This is typically what someone would do for like an African cichlid tank. You just have all these nooks and crannies where they could go. We're doing it purely for shrimp. All right, putting the camera on, music back on. All right, well, we've got the auto water change system going. I've been eating a bologna sandwich, waiting for it to fill up and clear up a little bit so I could show you the rock work. Here's what we came up with. Now, I realize this doesn't look good. Everything I do never looks good at the beginning. It's always a grow-in thing. But I did manage to hide the heater down there. That's one of the things I like about the Aquariumcoop heater. It's small. If I had a normal long tube heater, you'd have to be able to adjust it if I ever want to adjust it, right? Let's say I want to turn it down because I'm going to put a goldfish in here to eat the duckweed, or I could just unplug it. But if I want to adjust the temperature, I just got to go to the super long cord that I have, and I can adjust it on the cable. Now I left a little room right here for the sponge filter, kind of in the center. And then we've got some plants. My goal is to just scavenge my fish room, which not everyone's gonna be able to do this, I get it. But I like to buy plants and just let them start growing. I've got some Java ferns down here, which by the way, this normal Java fern that we sell had a little bit of trident in it. So it's got 3 leaves on it. Might put some of that in there. Anubias down here. What I wanna show you, horrible glare, they'll grow up and sideways. So if I take something like this one, people would be like, oh no, that's not gonna look good. And then I go, yeah, but what if you're making a scape like I am, and you go, wait, that's a hole on the side right there. What if I was to do this? We'll push it, there we go. And just like that, we've got an anubias growing out of the side of that rock, right? So you can see like, oh wait, there's one, and then there's one, and there's a hole on top, and there's one, and there's one, and there's one, and there's one, and there's one. These little pieces, once you take them out of the pot, you stick them in between the rocks. Potentially like right here, maybe you want, see how these two are a slightly different color? One of the ways to start blending pieces together, even if they're all matching really well, is to start putting life between them. And a lot of times you don't even have to glue, you just have to stick it in between, just like that. And as that becomes this, and that grows, you don't even notice this and this anymore because it's being consumed. I'm gonna set the camera down, I'm gonna keep working, we'll let this keep filling, and we'll see where we go.
1 hour later.
All right, the lights just shut off on me, so it's time to call it. I mean, some lights still haven't shut off yet because they're on different timers, but as it's getting late and I've been in here for hours working on 800 gallon, that kind of stuff, feeding, you can see over here, a bunch of shrimp. But this is how it turned out, for today. There's a little bit of fertilizer in there. The goldfish is gonna do work. I didn't put any more little pieces between the rock because if he goes and tugs on them, they'll come right out. I've got the light turned down, so this is the Aquariumcoop light, but it's at like 30% power or so, something like that, because these anubias don't need much light. Same with the Java fern. I end up putting a taller one fit up there, so it's right under the surface. But the goal is that a year from now, 2 years from now, if I change this tank, I want to be able to grab that and put it in another tank, and it's filled with bacteria, covered in a plant, and these are, like forever pieces. So they cost a lot of money. Maybe that rock's 20 or 30 bucks. You put a plant on it for 10 bucks, you're looking at 40 bucks. you know, all these are brand new scapes, so it takes years, and hopefully I'm not moving for a long time, so they'll actually get to mature out and you'll get to see it, as opposed to me always changing stuff and moving. So turned out okay. I think the filter will be covered, you know, in terms of plants being in front of it after a little while, and we'll just wait for duckweed patrol to do his job, and then we'll get the stuff we want to put in there in. Yeah, another day in the fish room, another day done. Hopefully you're enjoying it. By the way, if you want to see while I'm working in the fish room, I post in our Facebook group. It's Aquarium, what is it, Easy Aquariums for Beginners, something like that. I can't remember, too tired. I post in there every day, usually working on something, and it's a cool place to hang out. So if you're on Facebook, give it a try. If not, we'll see you on YouTube. We'll see you later.
We hope you enjoyed this video. To watch another one just like this, click here.